I'll tell you, when I was reading the book, the song, I believe it's originally by Charlie Peacock, I want to be in the light as you are in the light.
Hmm.
And that is your story, coming into
Yeah.
the light. I
Yeah.
know that they say anything that's in the dark has power over you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Did you find that to be true?
Yeah. 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 And First John, it says that if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we'll have fellowship with one another. It's a promise, right?
Yes.
And we have that deep koinonia type intimacy, but it only comes when you walk in the light, and it has
Mm.
to, and in the light, everything is exposed.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you're just coexisting with one another.
Right. That is so true. And I have a question though. What if your spouse is the one that says, I don't want to know? Because the Bible tells me to think on whatever is true and lovely and right and admirable and worthy of praise. And I don't want to know about what happened before we were together. Maybe nothing is going on now, but they don't want to know the past. What would you say to that spouse?
Well, so you're saying, let me see if I understand this, Marcy. You're
Hmm.
saying that somebody does not want to know your backstory,
Right?
right? Everything that happened in my past, not necessarily in our marriage, but
Hmm.
whatever happened to you back there, I don't want to know.
Right.
Well, I think that there isn't a knowing of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know your spouse because all those things that happened in the past are affecting you today.
Mm-hmm.
You can live in denial and say, no, it doesn't affect me. It does. Your past comes back to bite you in the present.
Yeah, we say many times that we look at the present through the lens of the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, these wounds that have happened in our past, they affect us today. Because
Right.
what we see is that there's kind of like a chain of command here. You start with a wound, it creates now a lie that you believe in the present.
Mm-hmm.
See, what happened to me in the past can be something that happened to me, it affect me today. So that's the lie, right? The
Mm-hmm.
lie leads to a fear. Now I'm afraid it's going to happen. And see, when you have fear, you either go towards faith or control.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us go toward control. So what we wind up with when we see marriages where one spouse or sometimes both spouses are very over controlled, over controlling, why is he always like that? Why does she never want to do that? Things like that. We always have to back up and say, where's the fear?
Mm-hmm.
Then where's the lie? And then where is the wound? And it's impossible to explore these things without going backwards. Now, we can live in denial and we
Right.
can have a marriage, we can go on vacations and we can have kids and we can have a house, but we cannot have intimacy without knowing.
That is really good. And I think on the part of the spouse who doesn't feel that they are free to share, like you didn't at first, I think, Phil, you have that wondering, would they still love me if they knew?
Right.
Hmm.
It's the big question that's out there. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the one thing that probably keeps us bundled up in secrecy is if she really knows me, will she love me?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a fear of not being loved. I really do. And you can trace it all the way back to my parents' divorce when I was 10 and my dad remarrying 3 days later. And there's lots of things,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But those aren't excuses for me. It just explains it a little bit for me that why do I have this fear of not being loved? Well, there was a time in my life as a little kid where that was a big question for me. What happened to my dad? Why
Mm-hmm.
did he decide to move to another state and be with another family? And so now you get to be an adult and you realize that you're living with this fear of not being loved. And so in
Mm-hmm.
that situation, it's very hard to be transparent with somebody. I mean, out of all the people, Marcy, who I want to love and accept me, Priscilla's the number one on the list, right?
Right.
And so for me to come out and tell her things that put that in jeopardy,
Mm-hmm.
that's a tough place to go.
Yeah. I think it all starts, the root of it too, is when we're dating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We show our pretty side, our pretty penny, how
Mm-hmm.
shiny it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't ever look on the other side that's kind of dirty and rusty.
Mm-hmm.
We don't like to have awkward, painful conversations. So we basically, and this would be where we were for 28 years, not having conversations, not pressing in to find out who are you?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to you? What brought you pain in your life? We don't want to talk about those things. And so it's almost like living in denial. We'll just kind of live in show our pretty side and pretend everything is great and not know each other.